I am a little bit worried about Ubisoft's open world Star Wars game. That's something I think has been a little bit of a common thought since Lucasfilm Games went and announced that Massive Entertainment and Ubisoft were going to be creating their own open world Star Wars game. This is something fans have been waiting for since literally forever. Now, I've been slowly chipping away at making this video since the announcement, as I didn't want to jump the gun and get negative too early, so I sat on this video for about, 3 or 4 weeks, but I think the time is right now, as a lot of people seem to be sharing the same concerns I have. Now, I think the ideal scenario for this game would have been like a Rockstar open world Star Wars game, obviously, but that didn't happen. To be honest though, I'm just glad we're getting an open world Star Wars game in the first place, because it's about damn time. But that doesn't mean that I'm not worried about it. There is so much that can go wrong. Ubisoft's track record with open world games is very patchy, to say the least, so how are they going to handle Star Wars? Are the limitations and fitting into canon going to cause a ton of issues that could very well be the downfall of this game? Well, we're going to dive deep into all of that in this video, as well as where this game is going to take place, what planet or planets, is it going to be open world or hell, open galaxy? How are they going to make this work? But before we get into all of that, if you are new around here, make sure you subscribe to the channel for all things Star Wars games, and check us out over on Twitch, where we play even more Star Wars games. So a Ubisoft open world Star Wars game is music to the ears of some people, and it's the complete opposite to others. I was actually surprised at the amount of people that reacted badly to the news that we were getting this open world game from Ubisoft. Obviously, Ubisoft are most notably known for their Assassin's Creed games and their Far Cry games, and we will be using both of those two open world franchises from Ubisoft as reference points for this video. Now, Assassin's Creed Black Flag and Far Cry 3 are two of my favourite games of all time. Both are in my top 5. So I probably take the news of Ubisoft taking on board an open world Star Wars game better than most. But Ubisoft have been slipping off the rails lately, in my opinion, when it comes to their open world games. I've liked some of the things they've done with the new style of Assassin's Creed games, but it's been far from perfect, and I did not like the past 2 Far Cry games at all, but I am excited for the next one. But of course, now they're taking on Star Wars. Star Wars is a tall order for anyone, and Massive Entertainment, who will be developing the game, they've been more of a support studio in the past, so it's becoming a bit of a worry for me the more I look into it. I don't want to be that guy that shoots things down before they even happen or anything. That's just not me. If anything, I'm normally too optimistic, but I've definitely got my worries about this open world Star Wars game coming from Ubisoft. And I want to share that with you guys, as it seems a lot of you have the same, if not similar, worries. So first off, let's talk about the engine this game will be built with. Massive Entertainment will be using the Snowdrop engine. Now, this isn't like a big worry for me personally. This is the same engine that is used for The Division. And I think The Division is a pretty damn good looking game, and obviously with the next gen hardware, I'm sure they'll be able to improve the look of this open world game from what we see in The Division. So graphics wise, I don't really have any worries, but my main worries for what this game could contain have to do with gameplay. Obviously, it's too early to speculate on what the gameplay is going to be like, that goes without saying. But I have found most of the previous Ubisoft open world games I've played to be very tedious, like a lot of stuff scattered around the place for the sake of it, boring side quest here, boring side quest there, collecting items that just mean nothing. Like I said before, I did not enjoy Ubisoft's latest Far Cry titles in the slightest, those being Far Cry 5 and Far Cry New Dawn or whatever it's called. I found the worlds to be bland with a lot of stuff that just, felt like filler to me. And the same goes for the latest Assassin's Creed titles. Origins was an amazing setting, but it did lose me about halfway through. Odyssey lost me after just a couple hours, as it was just boring side quest after boring side quest so you could level up to actually get anywhere. And the loot system, man, that was just stressful. That alone nearly made me throw in the towel. And Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the most recent Ubisoft open world game, I thought that was pretty fun for the first couple hours. I really enjoyed it when you're in Norway, but after being in England for a while, I found it kind of dull and it just got a little tedious and boring. Having said that, it wasn't that bad though. Now, it might sound like I just don't like open world games, but that's not the case. 3 of my top 5 favorite games of all time are open world games, those being Red Dead Redemption 2, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and Far Cry 3. I just haven't been a big fan of what Ubisoft have been doing with their open world games lately. There is stuff to like, absolutely, but it always loses me. and I am worried that that might translate into this open world Star Wars game. Now, the novelty of Star Wars will probably keep me more intrigued than with Ubisoft's other open world games, but I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't worried that these downsides could affect our first look at an open world Star Wars game that we've all wanted forever. But moving on, and let's talk about story for a second. Now, the story with any Star Wars game, or any game in general really, is stupidly important, but especially if it's going to contribute to the ongoing Star Wars canon, which is most likely it is going to. So the magnifying glass will be on the story and characters for this game. Jedi Fallen Order worked so well because it told a simple and fitting story, and of course it had pretty good gameplay, but most importantly, it had excellent characters that contributed to the canon. Unlike Battlefront 2's campaign, which were just a bunch of very disposable characters, so we've seen it done well and we've seen it done very, very average. Now granted, they're not open world games, but you see where I'm going here. I can't really begin to explain how big of a task it is going to be to pull off this game. The world is obviously important, and we'll get to that in a second, but the emphasis of story and characters cannot be underestimated here, and I really hope Massive Entertainment don't lose sight of that. It does happen a lot in Ubisoft's open world games, the Far Cry series perhaps being the worst offender for that. I can't even tell you what the protagonists' name are in half of the Far Cry games. Like, I'm not even joking. I think I know Jason Brody from Far Cry 3, and I think that's about it. So obviously I don't want that to happen here with the Star Wars game. A faceless protagonist is just not a good idea. I'd much rather see them borrow from like Assassin's Creed style and actually give the character some depth. I just really don't want them to retread the mistakes that the Assassin's Creed and Far Cry franchises have been making with characters. But now let's move on to the world, because the world is obviously stupidly important in an open world game. It's probably the first thing most people look at when a new open world game is announced. Where is it? How big is it? Etc. Like, I thought the same when Assassin's Creed Origins came out. The setting alone of ancient Egypt sold me on the game, and I did enjoy exploring it. And in complete contrast, I saw Far Cry 5 was in a fictional region of the US, and I was like, well, that's kind of boring, and then I just didn't really care about the game. So the world matters, big time. Now, the good thing about Star Wars is you can't really screw this part up. Every planet is pretty much interesting. They'd have to intentionally look for a boring planet to base the game in for it to be a flop in terms of setting. Now, I know for a fact that because this game is going to take place in the Star Wars universe, that a lot of people will complain if we can't visit more than one planet. Say, the main planet of the game is Tatooine. If we're stuck there for the whole game, that's going to rub some people the wrong way. It'll be awesome, sure, but we'll be looking at our ships, and then we'll be looking up at the sky and thinking, man, I wish I could just light speed to Coruscant. Or, you know, something along those lines. So could they possibly do open galaxy? Now, I'm not talking about like No Man's Sky or anything, like that would just be ridiculously huge, but I am worried that we're going to be stuck on one isolated planet. Now, what they could do is something like what Rockstar did with Red Dead Redemption 2, where you have your main map, and then during the story, you have a mission that takes place somewhere else entirely, kind of like how Red Dead 2 had Cuba for a mission. I think that could work really well. Say you have a mission where you have to go to another planet like, I don't know, Coruscant or Hoth, whatever. It would just feel like highway robbery to have an open world Star Wars game and just be stuck in one place. This game isn't going to be like most other open world games from Ubisoft. Obviously, you can't expect Bayek in Assassin's Creed Origins to jump in a spaceship and go to Mars, but with Star Wars, you can expect your character to jump in a spaceship and go to another planet. So I feel like this could create a few problems for players depending on what route Massive Entertainment decide to go with this. But let me know in the comments, open world, open galaxy, or semi-open galaxy. Let me know. But anyway, this Ubisoft open world Star Wars game, it certainly has its work cut out for it. There hasn't really ever been an open world Star Wars game, and that's probably due to the sheer scope of what the game would need to entail. It's got to go hard or it's got to go home. And to say this open world Star Wars game is a risk would be an understatement, because so much can go wrong, but at the same time, so much can go right. I really hope this game can sort of break away from the formulaic trends of other Ubisoft open world games and sort of carve a new style just for Star Wars. And to my knowledge, Massive Entertainment, again, like I said before, they've acted as a support studio for Assassin's Creed games. So unfortunately, I think they're going to borrow a lot from Assassin's Creed, which could work really well, but you know, it could definitely fall into the same traps as the Assassin's Creed franchise. So like I said, I have my concerns for this game, and I feel as if I've made them clear and justified why I'm concerned about them in this video. But just don't get me twisted, I am excited for this game and I will be playing the hell out of it. It is still some time away, but I of course will be following this game very, very closely all the way up until its release. But guys, I want to turn all of this over to you now. Are you worried at all about this open world Star Wars game from Ubisoft? I am really, really interested to see what the comments are like on this video, and of course, if you did enjoy this video, then dropping a like would be greatly appreciated, and of course feel free to subscribe to the channel for more Star Wars gaming content, and be sure to check us out over on Twitch. But that's going to do it for me today. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.